Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 One Club story from Hemel Hempstead Town with me, Daniel. It's part 129 of the Tudor Times today, and we come up against Chris Gunter's Manchester City and Leeds United, who are finally back in the top half after years away. But you can see there is a big story developing in the Premier League table because the top six now just separated by 6 points. Southampton and ourselves and Tottenham all yet to win a title, all within that mix. Liverpool, who were running away with it in the last episode, have dropped like a stone in recent weeks. And Manchester United and Arsenal, two regulars at the top, also in there as well. So this is about to get very, very tense. It is in our hands technically. We've got a game in hand on the top two. If we win it, we will be top going into the second game today. So if you're looking forward to finding out how we get on, seeing who we've got in all the cups, having a look at our youth intake preview as well, then please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from two long-term stories. The Helsingborg save is getting big at the moment. That one's back again tomorrow. You can find links to the playlist in the eye above. There's also the special video we did a week ago on Sunday, a new little top 3 series we're going to be continuing soon. There's also links there to the Twitch channel, football podcast and merchandise store too. And you can support the show as a channel member by clicking the join button down below. But let's get straight into this because it has been an eventful few weeks. We haven't picked up that many points. I mean, we've dropped 13 this season already and we're still right up in the mix for the title. We've got the January transfer window coming and we know there's going to be huge offers for our players. We've got a lot now that are down to 2.5 years remaining on their contract, and a few of those won't sign a new deal. So I've got a feeling we're going to lose a big star this January. For now though, let's start with the schedule because things have been okay. We had a disappointing draw in the Premier League, but we have had some very good wins and we've had a lot of gritty close ones. So you were with me for Sheffield United away and Atletico, the draw at the Metropolitano. We backed it up with a 2-1 win against Norwich despite falling behind early on. Carlos Torres and Ignacio Jura getting the goals there in that one. A 2-0 win at Shakhtar as we rotated a bit. Miguel Coronel with both, including a penalty. A 0-0 draw at Southampton as we played backs to the wall stuff towards the end. In the second half, we dropped Rodrigo de Vita into a back five and played that time-wasting tactic, and it got us a point, which, looking at the table now, is an incredibly good one. At home to Wolves, we won by 3-1. Mario Rickert, Tyrese Ricketts and Carlos Martin with the goals. A 6-0 win at home to Fulham, who had a very early red card. That was at 1-0. We scored from the resulting free kick to make it 2. That was part of Ignacio Jura's brace after Ricker's hat-trick and Arthur Ndu scoring a cracker as well. A 3-0 win at home to Wolfsburg with a reserve side in the Champions League, but it was the best players in that squad that did the job. Tyrese Ricketts with a brace and Miguel Coronel with one. A 1-0 win at Stoke with German Moreira scoring an absolutely beautiful goal. Cutting in from the left-hand side, whipped it into the top corner, and it deserved to win any game. Not that we were great aside from that. We relied on John Moore quite a bit in the second half. The same result at home to Leicester in the Carabao Cup quarter-final. Very boring game, but a very important result. Dean Arthur, the youngster from Peterborough in the summer, getting another little appearance off the bench. But it was Ignacio Jura, who's in a bit of a goal-scoring form at the moment, who got another one there. 4 for the season, all come in December. Starting to look a bit of a superstar, isn't he? A 2-1 win then away at the same opponents in the league. Mailton and Torres getting the goals there. Victor Peris, someone we've looked at signing before but can't afford the wages of, got their goal. He's a real quality midfielder and quite young as well. But we go into this spell of games with a lot of pressure on us. We face Liverpool in the Carabao Cup semi-final, which maybe isn't as daunting a task as it looked a few weeks ago. We've got non-league Morecambe in the FA Cup third round, a club that have just loaned one of our youngsters. And in the Champions League, we head to Valencia for our last 16 tie in that one. So there's potential opportunities. I'm still not prioritising the League Cup now, but if the opportunity comes in the final, you can bet we're going to try our best to take it. So lots of excitement in and around the club. A little bit of transfer news as well. We're trying to get performance analysts and continue to improve that staffing in the background. I know it's something we don't get to show that often here. We focused on it in a few season reviews, but I cannot reiterate the importance enough. Whatever we do in the transfer market, whatever we do tactically, you have to match it here. And as long as we continue to improve off the pitch, I'm a very happy man. In terms of loans out, 2 players have gone recently, but Afis Agbar is the main man. He was the start of last year's intake, who's gone to Morecambe on loan. He won't be able to play in the FA Cup, of course, but developing really nicely, despite his potential ability going down. Let's have a look at the youth intake preview before we get into the first game though, because that's something we always like to have a little nose at. This year, maybe not quite so exciting. There is one apparent top prospect in centre midfield, which would be really good to have. So again, when we've got these average intakes, anywhere that's between 2 and 3 star for an intake is always the same. You've got an option of a very average across the board team that can all be League 2, League 1 players, whatever it might be. Or you've got 1 star and loads of rubbish players. So let's hope for our sake it's the 1 star again. But we'll be back to that subject in March, because for now it's not too important. We've managed to calm down on the injury front. Not many out at all at the moment. Just Chauvin, who picked up a knock in the last game, and Peebles, who's on his way back. So fullback is the issue, but it shouldn't affect us here. It's Boxing Day. We've had a few days off. And Manchester City, down in 8th place, Chris Gunter in charge. They've lost so much momentum in the last few years. If I show you what they're looking at the moment, or in fact, Chris Gunter's a temporary manager. So they've obviously just sacked somebody after another poor start. But if we have a look at their recent seasons, it's been a continual decline in the 2030s for them. So 2030, they finished 4th, the lowest finish they'd had in 7-8 years before that. They've then finished 5th, 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 4th once, and 6th last year. Now they're even lower. They are no longer Champions League regulars. So let's get through the tactical meeting. We're going to pick our strongest side. And we'll be back in a minute to run through it as we head over to the Etihad. And despite our success this season, it has been a little bit frustrating because there's been a few players, I guess Mailton, Zaruk, the new signing being another, well, we've just not seen the best of them because they've come off big international tournaments in the summer and they're really struggling to stay fit. We keep getting warnings to rest them. Some of them, like Mailton, picking up little knocks. So I think before next year, we're unlikely to see the best of them. Although Zaruk is improving now, so that wonder kid status might well elevate him to the top before long. For now, though, this is our 11 for today's game. It's just Jose and for Chauvin, really. Otherwise, it's first choice. Moore in goal, Jose and Delgado the fullbacks, Zaruk and Hannafan centre-half, Arlan and Du, Moreira and Mailton the midfield diamond, and Du, still probably the only man in that first 11 we're looking to replace in the long term. And then Torres and Ricker up front. Hot on the heels is Tyrese Ricketts. Same for Coronel in midfield, and same for De Vita in the holding role. But for 10 of the 11 that are in our first choice team, I'd say we're probably near title contenders. So let's go and get into this game. Hopefully a big performance, but this game is tinged with danger and I'm sure it's going to be a very difficult test. You all know what happens when there's a new manager bounce. Well, just the one change for Manchester City as well. A few very good players in the team. The experience of Foden and Tonali. They've got Aaron Moore at centre-half, who's a real top quality player. And on the bench, they've got some decent talents too. But it's not the Manchester City side it once was. However, we've got the other side of that. They're a club that's just sacked their manager and they've got a new lease of life. Will that show in the first half here? Well, there's only one way to find out, isn't there? Well, are these the weeks that are key in the title race? Southampton, Tottenham already ahead. And we are struggling here because away from home against a good side, it was always going to be the case. They've got easier fixtures on paper. Chelsea are 3 up at home. They're trying to make a comeback after a poor start. Wonder if Neil Bath's still the interim manager there after, what would it be, nearly 10 years now? As Tonali's got the ball for City. We're just trying to contain them at the moment. Might be one of those games, a bit like Southampton, where just holding on for a 0-0 is a good result in the end. And it's something I do feel, bar the European Super Cup final, we've really improved this year. When we needed to shut up shop away at United, when we needed to do it away at Southampton, we've been able to keep clean sheets. And that's where I feel Zaruk's important. And it might get even more crucial now because Ricker was in with a great chance to score. Made it all himself out of nothing, to be fair. Another one that struggled with injury and one that might be off soon. But that one saved by the keeper. As Demichink gets down the right-hand side. Chance to cross for Manchester City. Held up by Delgado but finds Tonali. And now Mackie into the box. Good block first time. But Foden's goes in. And on a stroke of half time, we fall behind. And you can start to see at the bottom of the screen the fitness just edging away now. We're really struggling to keep the match load down for a few of these. Thankfully, Southampton have conceded at the same time. It's not been the best half in the world though, has it? Let's get into the second half. The lads are motivated, but That's why we come back for these games. We know they're the toughest, as we've got a throw on the right-hand side with Danilo Jose, and Du finds Arlan. Tip of the centre circle to Mailton. Not seen the best of him for a couple of months now, as Moreira finds Ricker just over the bar. Moreira has been one of those stars keeping us going. Torres probably the same in recent weeks, and Tyrese Ricketts to an extent as well, as Foden puts the corner in for City, free header over. And we're in a position now where I'm starting to think about, do we go fatigue or do we go for the players who are struggling for fitness? Because with an hour gone, we've not offered much, and we need to find a way back into this game. A point be a fabulous result. Moreira is absolutely knackered, so he's going to be replaced. Or do I take off Ndu, who's nervous? This is the choice. Ndu's coming off. We'll rest Moreira in midweek. So Coronel on in centre mid. Mailton really struggling for fitness. He's going to be replaced by Carlos Martin. And then Torres up front for Ricketts, who is pretty much tit for tat who starts first choice. 25 minutes to go. We're going to encourage the boys and hopefully we get a big response. And we've got a throw on the left-hand side in the City half. Moreira picks it up on the half-turn from Delgado. Chips down the line towards Ricketts, who keeps it in. Two in the middle if he can find them. The issue with making the free subs now is that if we do equalise, we cannot go more defensive. We're going to have to stick it out. As Arlan into Carlos Martin to Mario Ricker. Sends the keeper the wrong way. Almost does him with the eyes there. No backlift on the shot. The keeper, you saw it. He started to dive to the right. And Ricker just placed it beautifully to his left. 1-1, Carlos Martin gets the assist. The substitutions have paid off, although City turning on the front foot. We have definitely been the better side since the hour mark, but we look a little bit vulnerable at the back, and just look at the fitness. As Ricketts nicks the ball high up the pitch, the substitute can carry it for us, take the danger away, into Moreira, up to Mario Ricker. Great save by Miku in the Manchester City goal. Into the final 10 minutes, that was probably the chance. But from set pieces, there's always an opportunity. As Coronel takes it towards Jose. Not quite the same aerial threat as Chauvin. And it's cleared away on the right-hand side. He keeps it in for Hanifan though. Not really going anywhere. And it peters out. 5 minutes left. And we've got the ball at the back with John Moore. To Zaruk. He's had a solid game, but really struggling physically now. If it wasn't for injuries to the fullbacks, I would have sent him away on a week's holiday before long. But we've not been able to do it when rotating the squad. As Mellon at the back finds Neil to Mackie to Neil. It'd be a horrible time to concede, but it's a team that's running on empty. As Gemachin gets down the right-hand side, being chased by the fullback, but he can't keep the cross. Zaruk clears, only halfway though, and it's out as far as Coronel. Bit of pinball in the Hemel area. We are surviving rather than thriving at the minute. As we head into stoppage time, 3 minutes of it, it's going to be a point. And I said at the start, not the worst result in the world, because a lot of teams under pressure at the moment, a lot of teams dropping points. Liverpool have collapsed, Southampton drew at home to Brentford. Do you know what? If those lads are disappointed with a draw, I think we've got a lot to be proud of. Decent result, not the best performance. Back in 3 days though to rotate again as we face Leeds at home in the Premier League. And here we are. Dominic Chauvin might just be fit, but I don't really want to risk him if we can avoid it. How many of the players are going to be fatigued though? That's the big question. Just 3 days since the City game, a big effort away from home. And just 3 days away from a visit of Chelsea. I mean, it's getting very difficult to spread the squad out here. We might have to get bigger again, but there are problems. The vultures are starting to circle. John Moore, the goalkeeper, one of many. Of course, Arthur Ndu we've talked about before. The only one with less than 2.5 years on his contract. I'm waiting for the big offer. Because at 30, it's probably the last chance we've got to get one. And PSG, probably the ideal club. Because if they sign him, they won't then come in for German Moreira. He's the one I most want to keep because he's 24, he's an absolute gem, and he is our best player technically. Mario Ricker, problems. Bayern coming in. Chelsea I'm not so worried about, but he is 27. Are we going to get bigger money for him in the future? Probably not. We got offered silly money last January, and on reflection maybe should have sold him, but I think this year is probably the one he goes because Ricketts and Carlos Torres ready to step up. We only then need one replacement. There are plenty of others that could surprise us as well, though. If there's a big offer for a Danny Harrison, a Miguel Coronel, whoever it might be, there could yet be a few changes in this club. And the one that's a surprise that might well save us from having to sell a big name is Case Striker. because he's wanted by West Ham. And if they come in with sort of 30 odd million for him, it does take away that necessity to sell a bigger name. But that's probably wishful thinking. Let's go and head into the Leeds game. We'll assess all of that in the next episode because we will be back for January transfer deadline day. For now, we want to go top of the Premier League. Liverpool won, Southampton drew, Tottenham won, Manchester United are up there, they won as well. There are now 4 points separating the top 5. There are 2 points separating the top 4. And even the goal differences, if you take out Southampton, are getting pretty tense between the rest of us. So this one promises to go all the way to the wire. Is it going to be one of those years like we've seen before when we were further down? Like we saw in the head coach with United, where teams were winning the league on 75 points and there were 3 teams within a few points. That might be our only chance of winning one. So let's go and get through to the team selection. Oh, their struggles. Ricker, Moreira, Delgado, Zaruk, all out. We're going to have to make changes. Back in a minute. Well, in addition to the changes within the 11, we've also got Dean Arthur, the youngster from Peterborough, on the bench because we are starting to struggle a little bit for numbers defensively. And if we're winning, I'd like to not bring Chauvin on because he's struggling for fitness. Peebles only got 75 minutes in apparently, but he's one of only 2 fullbacks that are fit. So in he comes. He's alongside Ignacio Jura, who comes into the back 4 for Zaruk. We've brought in Coronel in the middle for Moreira. And we've brought in Ricketts alongside Torres, who switches sides with Mario Rickert dropping out. They are, I think, our 4 changes for today's game. I was tempted to make more, but we've got Chelsea again in 3 days and Villa 4 days after that. Everyone's going to get their go. Let's just make sure we get a positive result. And here we go. Just 2 changes for a much younger Leeds side this season, which hopefully will benefit us because we know the AI's management of fatigue isn't great. We need it to benefit us here. Gotta say, Leeds have looked a lot better this year under Fernando Torres. Bit more of a Spanish tinge to the team. And a few more younger players creating legwork in the middle. So let's see how they get on against us here, because we're a little bit makeshift, but we should still have a strong enough team to win. And actually I should take it back, because bar 1 player, everyone for Leeds is fully fit, so this could be fairly level pegging in the end of things, as Undu gets the ball to Jura. On the left hand side, still forward from the original set piece, goes back to Arlan. Works it wide, but we're not really going forward, and Leeds continuing to press high. Arthur Ndu holds it up though for Torres, plays a good 1-2 with him, and Arthur Ndu, what a finish that is. He only scores good goals these days, doesn't run in behind quite so much at 30, makes big efforts from long range, and that one is a superstar effort, as Manchester United fall behind, Liverpool and Spurs are playing each other on a level. This could be a real good day for us in a title race, because even for a few minutes, this is the first time I think we've ever been top of the Premier League, and that's something we really have to enjoy. You can see Juan Alonso, the one tired man for Leeds. He is absolutely cream crackered as we get a free header at the back post with Hanifant from a corner, headed off the line by the man at the back post. Coronado on the counter too. Arthur Ndu's back. He's had a really good first half. The goal, some crucial bits of defending, and now Leeds are on the front foot as it's a long ball forward. Jura wins the header. Danilo Jose into Mailton. Could really do with him coming to life again. Looks so promising for 7 or 8 months. A bit like Bruno Fernandes when he went to United. And seems to be going a similar way since as well. As the ball's gone back to Moore in goal. To Jura. Playing out from the back, wide to Peebles. Into Coronel. Turns and finds Ricketts on the left-hand side. Drags himself wide. Can we get the ball in? We can. And there's a few sliding in. Mailton one of them, but can't quite get on the end of it. As Arthur Ndu gets the ball just inside their half. Finds Mailton again. Coronel to Ricketts. Good save by the keeper. It's going to be 1-0 at half-time unless we can score from this one. Can we produce the moment of magic? Mailton takes it. Back post with a corner. Headed away. Arthur Ndu brings it down. Any time for a shot? It goes wide. Mailton on the right. Gets the ball in. Deflects out for another corner. Not sure if there's time for it. I think there might be. It's an outswinger. It's not going to be taken. The half-time whistle goes 1-0. Leeds have had nothing whatsoever. But we've got to be careful here because Arlan in the holding role on a booking, not playing well. I'm not going to take the risk. Rodrigo de Vita, the wonder kid, comes on. In fact, he's just turned 21, so he's lost that status into the second half. First change made. Couple more to follow shortly. As we're 10 gone in the second half, we're back with Jura on the ball, camped in the Leeds half at the moment. They've got no one really staying up front. As Torres gets on the end of a through ball, it's cleared by the Leeds keeper, only as far as Danilo Jose. Down the right he goes to Torres, through ball, it's a brilliant one. Tyrese Ricketts makes the run in behind. It's a really nice finish, and it's a little bit of a blossoming partnership, these two. They've played together a bit more due to Ricker's injuries and lack of fitness. And bearing in mind what we're expecting in January and potentially Ricker moving on, if we get 160 million again, you can bet your bottom dollar he'll be off. We've got problems with fatigue for Jack Hanifan. We're also going to have them with Peebles, who's only supposed to do 75. So let's go and make another substitution. I'm actually going to make a slightly controversial one here to try and get the youngsters on. I'm going to bring Louise on for Hanifan, and I'm going to drop De Vitter in at centre-half alongside Jura. Louise will go into the holding role, which he can play, but he hasn't played often for us. And then if we're still 2 up in 10 minutes, I'll bring on young Dean Arthur for Jose at right back, or for Peebles, and switch the sides around. Let's see how we're going though, as Leeds have their first shot. Doesn't seem to be too much of a threat. So with Danilo Jose absolutely knackered, and probably crucial being able to play both sides, Dean Arthur will get 13 minutes for the first time in the Premier League. And it doesn't appear to have made any difference because Leeds are offering nothing going forward. One hopeful shot as United nick a last minute winner. I think that means we're not going top, doesn't it? As it's a long ball forward from Leeds. Can we keep the clean sheet? Louise does his bit, wins the header for Peebles, who got through the 90 minutes in fairness to him. No chance he plays in 3 days, as Arthur on the right might have to get used to being in this first team squad. To undo and Torres, switch of sides to Ricketts on the edge of the box, and he picks the ball up. Forced to the byline, goes back to Coronel. Can we put some gloss on it? Ricketts into the box. It's a good challenge in the end. Peebles keeps it though, finds Louise. We're past the 4 minutes. Can we have one more shot? We can. It's Arthur and Do with a brilliant effort. And the keeper gets a really strong hand to that. I should mention, as the game's over, Dean Arthur is training with the first team. So it's not like he doesn't know any of these lads. But it's good work. It's a really professional job well done. But what side's going to be fit in 3 days? We just don't know at this point. Well, it's managed to get even tighter somehow. Liverpool go top on goal difference. They win 2-0 against Spurs, and they have got the best side if they keep everyone fit. United 1 point behind after that late winner. Southampton 2 points behind. This top 4 race is huge. And don't rule out the 2 lads behind that either. The North London sides 5 and 6 points off the top respectively. This promises to be an epic season. And I can't wait to see the rest of it. As part of that, we're going to be back for transfer deadline day at the end of January. We've got Arsenal, City and Brentford who seem to be causing the big boys problem around that time. We've also potentially got a 4th round FA Cup tie, and maybe we'll be in a Carabao Cup final by then. So we're going to be back at the end of the month. We had a good game against City last time. We might well be seeing that again. If you did enjoy the episode and our good run of form continuing, please do chuck a thumbs up on it. Let me know which one of the lads you think I should take the money for in January. Of course, we could get a ridiculous offer again. It might be taken out of our hands. But if not, which one do I sacrifice for now? If you want to stay up to date and find out my decision, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on. Daily videos from 2 long-term stories, including the Helsingborg save, which is back tomorrow. Keep an eye out for top 3s occasionally on Sundays as well. Please do check out the first one if you haven't already. And you can also find links in the eye above to the Twitch channel, football podcast and merchandise store too. But thank you as always for watching. I'll put a link to that top 3 episode above my head. And I'll see you again here next time for Transfer Deadline Day, which I think is going to be pretty biblical.